wonderfully taken care of, we stopped by to thank you for taking care of our history. Of course, we all know that not all history is in the books, and that's what we'd kind of like to give you today, a little idea of how our lives came together. And I mean, what one lifetime, what do you have? Joys and sorrows and sadnesses and anger. And, well, I assure you, Mr. Jackson and I understood all of those qualities quite well. My own story, of course, begins at the beginning, as any story does. It begins in the Waxhaws in South Carolina. Now, I never knew my father. He was the son of a wealthy weaver from Scotland. Married my mother in Ireland, Cara Fergus. Came over here for the new life in the big country, new start. And they settled in the Waxhaws. Fortunately enough for my dear and good old mother, her sisters were close by. And my not knowing my father, he died before I was born. Fortunately, my mother was able to get a position with one of her sisters to make a few extra dollars and give us boys an education. And of course, she singled me out to be a Presbyterian minister, so I got the better of the education. But my disposition proved otherwise. But you know, looking back on our lives, I see how we were put in the right place. Of course, I learned all my chores on the farm from my brothers, you and Robert. They taught me how to ride a horse and, of course, clean up in the stable, too. I knew how to gather the chicken eggs and milk the cows and do those things that farm boys do. And being privileged, went to a rather worthy school where the schoolmaster was a very stout American and instilled patriotism in his students. They were having uneasiness with a tyrant king 3,000 miles away, and unrest. And there was talk of breaking away from the tyrant 3,000 miles away, and we wanted to do our part. Well, not too much young boys could do, except get into trouble. One day, when the trouble did start, my brother Hugh had already signed up with my uncles who were militiamen, left. Never saw my brother again. Hugh Jackson, American patriot, died in the service of his country. My brother Robin and I on recess in school one day saw some British soldiers coming across a creek. And they were pulling a cannon. And we stared at them, and the cannon got stuck in the creek. And they left. Our friends we knew had some very powerful Percheron horses. I figured we'll come back, get that cannon, and hide it. We did. We came back and we dragged the cannon down the creek and covered it up with tree leaves. The British came back. They must have thought some of the company came by and picked up the cannon, and they left as quickly as they came. But we came back later that night, put the cannon on a wagon, and we had heard there was a General Marion, called him the Swamp Fox, close by. He needed a cannon. We got that cannon to General Marion. Many of us believe to this day it's the reason why he won the battle. But my story, as a farm boy, you'll hear many stories of me that I used to foam at the mouth and curse and do things that were horrendous, but I think that was just because my name was Jackson, and I don't think I was any different than any other frontier child, to tell you the truth. But little did I know the adventure life was to come before me as we went along.
And my child